guys staring at me dressed as Napoleon Dynamite, so I figured I'd switch out real quick. Tonight's gonna be a fun night because we did all of the fun stuff, all of the fun worship up front, and then I have one story that I want to tell you guys tonight, and then I'm going to release you to your small groups where you guys can take pictures, you guys can have a little party within your small group, and kind of just enjoy each other and build some relationships. But this is church. This is where my love and my heart for you is that I want to point you to Jesus. Everything that we do, I want to be able to show you a little bit of who God is and what He's done for you. And so I know that you're dressed as a chicken, I know that you're dressed as a Teletubby, I know that you're kind of feeling weird, but we can still take 15 minutes and talk about God for a minute. Are y'all down for that? Y'all ready for that tonight? So let's pray. Let's pray and let's jump into this tonight. God, thank you for the joy that you give us. God, thank you for the freedom of just being with each other and the freedom of just being able to celebrate this family. And God, I know that the situation is a little bit different, a little bit odd, and not as smooth as it normally is. But God, you're here just like you always are and you always will be. So God, in this moment, would you still speak to our hearts? Would you still change our minds, God? Would you reveal yourself to us here tonight? If you love Jesus, say amen. Amen, amen. If you've been here during one of the weeks that we've been talking about fear, can you raise your hand? Let me see you. Incredible, incredible. So for me to be able to update you on what I'm talking about when I say fear, you guys are kind of already in the game. You understand these definitions, but so let me give them to you just in case there's someone here tonight that I want you to feel a part of the family. I want you to feel included about what I'm talking about when we talk about fear. It's October, it's Halloween, kind of all this sort of stuff, so it's kind of a relevant thing. And so there's two types of fear in the scriptures. The first type of fear comes from 1 John 4:10. Throw that on the screen for me. And this is the fear of being totally absorbed in yourself. So this is thinking about what is going to happen to you. So this says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment. So there's a clear definition. Fear has to do with what is going to happen to me. Fear has to do with it's total self-consciousness of understanding of I'm self-centered, self-absorbed. I'm being totally absorbed in myself in this moment. That's that type of fear. Now, in the moment when you're being spooked, that fear is sort of okay because it helps you, be self-preserved and not get hurt and that sort of stuff. But if you work that out into relationships, you work that out into motivations, it can become a very, very negative thing. So there's the first type of fear, which is the fear, the definition of that fear is being totally absorbed in yourself. And there's another definition or another type of fear in the Bible, and this is the fear that we're talking about tonight, and it's the fear of God. It's the fear of God. And so this comes from Proverbs 24:18. It's one of the many times in scriptures it says this. This is being totally overwhelmed in wonder at the greatness of God. Being totally overwhelmed that He is God and I am not. I always say this phrase, you are God, I am not. I recognize that I am powerless against Harvey. I am powerless against some of these things in my life, but God is more powerful than them all. And when you see who He is and what He's done, it will bless your life. Proverbs 28:14, blessed is the one who fears God always. And the charge for the last month has been, we need to fear God as much in the calm as we do in the storm. We need God as much in the calm as we do in the storm. And it's this idea of being overwhelmed at who God is, His character, how He's revealed Himself as all powerful, all present, He's ever present, and how He's created this universe, and it goes on and on. But also, what He's done, His grace, His mercy, His love. And you get to this place of being like, wow, you are God and I am not. We've talked about John, the best friend of Jesus. We've talked about Isaiah, who saw a vision in 740 BC. And there's these moments where they were so overwhelmed with the presence of God and who God is that it changed everything about them. And so tonight I just want to share one story with you. I want to share another moment in history. This moment is recorded throughout history as a factual moment that actually happened. And it's recorded in 3 of the 4 Gospels that we have. And so you have the Gospel of Matthew, you have the Gospel of Mark, you have the Gospel of Luke. These are written letters, they're historical documents, they're historical accounts of the life of Jesus Christ. And this moment that we're going to talk about today is is this: there's a soldier who is watching Jesus get crucified. There's a soldier who is literally in charge of making sure that the execution of Jesus Christ was followed through, that he was nailed to a cross, and that he would eventually die. And he's called a centurion, he's a captain, and there's a bunch of other soldiers. So we have three accounts of this, of three of the four Gospels. So we have three historical records of this moment from AD 30, right around AD 30, so we're talking just about 2,000 years ago. But even more than that, I want you to recognize that this is a real moment that really happened in history. Was that a burp? It honestly sounded like a burp. I'm impressed, I'm not even mad. Okay, but this is a real moment that really happened in history. There's a few other people who weren't even believers of Jesus, because Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they were followers of God. They were followers of Jesus. But there's this one guy, his name is Tacitus. He wrote the Annals of Imperial Rome. He's one of the most well-known and well-regarded history professors or history writers of history. He wrote this book called the Annals of Imperial Rome, and he references the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So this is a historical event. There's this man named Josephus who was a Jewish historian. And he wrote a book about the history, and he mentions this moment when Jesus was publicly crucified. And so what I'm telling you today is that this is a moment that really happened in history. As real as this moment is right now, this really happened. So Jesus is being crucified. He is being publicly crucified on a hill. There are people watching, and he is literally in the middle of dying. He's in the middle of dying publicly. There's a couple people at his feet. There's some family, there's some followers, there's some religious people who are the reason why Jesus is being crucified. And then you have the centurion and his soldiers who are in charge of the actual execution of Jesus Christ. And throughout all of these historical documents, we read all of these different things that happened that day. And it's mind-blowing to kind of see the things that were transpiring when Jesus was dying on the cross. First, we can read, first we understand that darkness, it was noon to 3 o'clock. That's recorded. So Jesus, those final few hours on the cross, was noon to 3 o'clock. And it got dark in the middle of the day. Recorded in human history. It got dark in the middle of the day while Jesus was on the cross. It was a phenomenon that is unexplainable. And then at the moment Jesus died, the moment that it says he gave up his spirit, the moment that he died, an earthquake hit. Literally, the moment he dies, an earthquake hits and starts to shake the ground. The rocks began to split and began to shake the ground. All of this is recorded in human history. And you know how the centurion and the soldiers react? Let's read about it. We're going to read from the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew records it this way. Each of them recorded a different way, and it's fascinating to see the few eyewitness accounts of this moment in history. And so, can we go to Matthew? It says, when the centurion and those who were with him, so his soldiers and the people that he's in charge of, when they were keeping watch over Jesus, they saw the earthquake and what took place. And they were filled with awe, and they said, truly this was the Son of God. And so they see the earthquake, they see the darkness, and they see Jesus on the cross, and they're mocking Jesus because Jesus claimed to be God. There's literally a sign above his head that claims to be God, claims to be King of the Jews. And in that moment, because of the darkness and because of the earthquake, Jesus dies, the earthquake happens, the darkness happens, and these non-believers, these people literally executing Jesus, they look up at Jesus and they say, truly, this was the Son of God. This man was God. How did they get to this conclusion? The fear of God. They got to the conclusion that Jesus really was who he claimed to be. Literally God in the flesh. Literally God dying for us on the cross. They came to this conclusion via the fear of God. Being overwhelmed at the greatness of God. And I don't want this to get lost in translation because these history books were all written in different languages. None of them were written in our English language. So let me read through some of the other translations. They were originally written in Greek, and now they're being translated to English, so it can get lost in translation a little bit. So let's read through a couple of different translations. Can we do that? Go ahead and throw those on the screen for me. This comes from what's called the Message translation. It says, the captain of the guard and those that were with him When they saw the earthquake and everything else that had happened, they were scared to death. So the first time it says filled with awe. Now it says they were scared to death. And they said, this has to be the Son of God, right? They said, this has to be him. He's claiming it, and this has to be him. Because of everything that's happening, they're saying it. Let's read it in another translation. This is the NIV. It's just another translation of Greek to English. When the centurion and those that were with him were guarding Jesus, they saw the earthquake and all that had happened. They were terrified. So now we have awe, then they were scared to death. Now we have terrified. And they exclaim, surely he was the Son of God. I think we have one more. We have one more translation I think I'll throw in there. Yeah, I had to go with the King James Version. Anybody have to read the King James growing up? And you're like, I got no clue what's being said. Now when the centurion, and that is that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they feared greatly. Right? It's Old English. That was my attempt at Old English, right? They feared greatly. Which is like just another way of saying they were full of the fear of God. And what did they say? Truly this was the Son of God. Now here's the thing that I don't want to get lost in translation here, and I want to make sure that you understand from this story what the fear of God really is. Were they afraid of, you have to put yourself in their shoes. It's the middle of the day, noon to 3. This happened around 3 o'clock. Darkness engulfs the land. Right? So this man's claiming to be God, and now you're looking for signs that he might be God, and darkness engulfs the land. Now you're already like, all right, what's going on? Like, this is like AD 30. They don't have flashlights. They can't pull up their cell phones and be like, looking around. You know what I mean? Like, darkness engulfed the land. They had to light their torch or something. I don't know what they did. But it got dark. And then Jesus dies, and then the earthquake happens. So now you have darkness, now you have an earthquake. How many know that if you were in an earthquake, you'd be scared of what might happen to you? Am I going to fall in a crack? Is this building going to fall on me? What's going to happen? So you might read it one way and be like, okay, darkness and earthquake, yeah, they were scared, they had fear. Which would be the first definition of fear. Fear of what might happen to us. But that's not the fear that they were feeling in that moment. Let's reread it. I'm going to kind of reread all of this. So we're going to start a little bit earlier in Matthew 27. Go ahead and start me probably around verse 45. Yeah. So check out the timing of all this. When Jesus cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn into 2 from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split. And when the centurion and those that were with him were guarding Jesus, they saw the earthquake. Now here's the line that I want you to read here. Because at the moment of the earthquake, at the moment of the darkness, that's where the fear began to come in. And the fear was there for 2 reasons. Number 1, the timing. And number 2, all that had happened. So you think about it. This is good. The man claiming to be God on the cross. Darkness and earthquake. Now you're thinking, this guy might be in control of the darkness and the earthquake. So the timing of it all, because it says at that moment, that's when the earth shook. That's when the darkness hit the land. So you have one thing that you're thinking, maybe something bigger than me is actually happening. Because all of this is oddly lining up. And then the second thing, which is that second to last line, right above the word surely, it says, and all that had happened. So there must be more going on here than just darkness and earthquake. For them to get to a place of saying, surely he was the Son of God, more had to be happening than just darkness and the earthquake. They were watching Jesus die publicly. And there are 3 things that Jesus said when he was on the cross that I believe that this is what it's referencing, because they saw all that had happened. They were there, right there, in the full story, in the full context of seeing this with their very own eyes. They saw the timing of the earthquake and the darkness, and they saw these other things that Jesus said. For instance, Jesus was on the cross. How many people were being crucified that day? How many people were being murdered that day? Anybody know? 3. Yeah, there were 3 people being murdered. 2 criminals who deserved it, and Jesus who was innocent. And one of the criminals looks over at Jesus, says, I believe that you are God. You don't deserve to be murdered right now. I do. I deserve to be executed for my sins and my crime. But you don't. Is there any room for me in your kingdom? Is there any room for me to be with you forever? You know what Jesus did in that moment? He said, surely today you will be with me in paradise. That guy didn't deserve anything. And God gave him grace. That guy didn't deserve any. Now this is Fear 12. I don't know what's happening to the screens right now. Lord, we need to pray right now and see what. Okay, thank you. We're back to praying. Okay, but right. So this guy didn't deserve anything, yet Jesus told him, "I forgive you. I give you grace, and absolutely, if you believe that I'm God, I would love to be with you forever. I'd love to be in a relationship with you forever." The centurion and the guards, they saw that happen. They also saw Jesus on the cross talk about, my God, why have you forsaken me?" They saw Jesus in that moment talking about the separation that he was feeling between God the Father and God the Son. They saw the anguish on his face for the first time in eternity because God, Jesus, was in the beginning before anything was created. It's clearly stated in the scriptures. So he is an eternal being. He's an eternal God who has always existed, no beginning and no end. And for the first time in his eternity, in his eternal existence, he is separated from his Father. And the beauty of our God is that it's three gods in one, living in perfect relationship with each other. That we call them one God, because if you could really get it, we couldn't really get it. But they are living in perfect relationship. And that's why God wants to have a deep, meaningful relationship with you, and why God wants you to have deep, meaningful relationships with each other, because our God exists in a relationship. Hopefully some of my seniors got that, because that's up there, right? But God, Jesus is in perfect relationship with his Father. And because he loves us so much, he was willing to put our sin on his back and be separated from God, from his Father for the first time and only time in his eternal existence. And the centurion and the soldiers saw his face as he cried out, "My God, where are you?" Feeling that separation for the first time. It gets better than this, though. Because, yeah, they saw the timing. Yeah, they saw the darkness and the earthquake. They saw him invite this person that he didn't deserve it, but he got it, invited this criminal in. They saw the anguish of the separation between him and God the Father. But even more than that, they heard him on that cross, look them in the eye, and say, "Father, forgive them." The centurion does not even know what he's doing right now. He looked them square in the eye and said, "Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing." The centurion and the soldiers were following orders, and they were murdering and crucifying the living God. They were just following orders, but God was dying for our sins. And in that moment, the one being crucified looked at the ones crucifying him and said, "Forgive them. They don't even know what they're doing." And so, this is what it means to be full of the fear of God. To not only see the obedience of the Son, to see the heart of Jesus Christ, but also to be full of awe and wonder that not only yet there were miracles happening of darkness and earthquake, proving that he was God, proving that he is who he claimed he would be, but also in that moment he was forgiving, he was inviting, and he was in anguish over the loss of relationship. And when they saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they came to a realization that Jesus was God. They were full of the fear and wonder of God. They were in awe of everything that they had experienced that day. And they said, "Surely he is the Son of God." I tell you that story today as best that I possibly could. A real moment that really happened in human history. Because this is the most important question you will ever answer in your entire life. Is who is Jesus? That is the most important question you will ever answer in your entire life. Who is Jesus? And my challenge to you, 412 exists so that we would provide you with information, that we would provide you with understanding, and we would give you the opportunity to experience God. So that you would fill yourself with the fear of God. So that you would fill yourself with awe and wonder and reverence of who God is. So that you would see him bigger in your mind, because however high or low your view of God is, will determine however high or low your response to God is. The most important question you can ever answer in your own life, and I'm done, this is it, is who is Jesus? And when you give it a shot, this is the invitation. You don't have to act a certain way to come here. You don't have to be a certain thing to be here. You just get to come, and the invitation is, I would love to share with you who Jesus is, because if you would see him as God, if you would see it lining up in your own life, it's my man. I like it. If you would see him as God, it'll change everything about you. So that's the charge. Grow in your understanding of God. Figure out, what does it mean that he's omnipotent, omnipresent? What does it mean that he's omniscient? What does grace mean? What does sanctification mean? What does mercy mean? What truly does love mean? There's lots of definitions for that stuff out there. Why do they lift their hands in worship? Why do they fall on their knees? Why do they pray so desperately? Why does Jimmy stand up there and do what he does? You have knowledge and you have experience, and that's what the offerings at 412 is, to grow in your experiential understanding of God. Because if you would be full of the fear of God, it would change everything about you. Amen? Let me pray for you. God, I love you, and I thank you just for tonight. God, I thank you that you have preserved that story. You preserved that moment in human history. And then we're talking about it 2,000 years later. God, I thank you that you, even in your worst moment, dying on the cross, your heart was to seek and save the lost. And that centurion and those soldiers saw you for who you really were. God, we are never too far from your grace. We are never too distant from your love. God, you are ever present and you love us so much. So today, would you fill us with the fear, the reverent fear and awe and wonder of the greatness of not only who you are, but what you've done. And even when we're young, even in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, even in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and even when we're young, God, fill us with who you are and what you've done. And God, I pray that someone here tonight, someone here in this room right now, would remember this moment and go on a journey to figure out, do I really believe that Jesus is God? And God, as you give them the power to walk that journey, you will give them the power to transform, to resurrect in the newness of life. I pray all these things in the name of Jesus. You know, Jesus say, amen? Amen. Amen. That's a quick story. Listen, Jimmy did not tell quick stories, all right? But I love talking about Jesus. I love you guys. And so here's where we're going to go from here. Find your small group leader somewhere in here, and then you can go wherever. It's a beautiful night. Go outside, take some pictures, have some fun, do a little party, talk about Jesus. Small group leaders, meet back in here at 8:15 on the dot. I love you guys. Meet up in here, find your small group leader. When you have everybody, go find a random spot, have some fun, have some good conversations. I love you guys. Have a great night. I'll see you at 8:15, leaders. 8:15. If you don't know where you're going, fill
one though, right?
It's a pretty big one. Should I go ahead and tell?
Yeah, you should go ahead and tell me.
We have the bonfire coming up. That's on November 8th. That's 2 weeks from now. It's going to be incredible. Wesley Church is actually going to be hosting it. One Single Ministry. They're incredible. Obviously, hashtag Harvey. So we don't have anywhere to host us. They're being so gracious and hosting us for us. There's going to be live worship. There's going to be a message. There's going to be some free gumbo. Anybody in for free gumbo? Yes. It's going to be an incredible night. You guys don't want to miss it. So check out our bonfire on November 8th.
Guys, it's going to be amazing. And look, I know this night is different than other nights. We've got some chickens. I saw Thor flying around. Batman and Bruce Wayne are both here. But guys, y'all give it up for just a few minutes as we continue our Fear 12 series, Napoleon Dynamite.
What's up for 12? Gosh. How you guys doing tonight? Take your glasses off. He says vote for Big Joe. Y'all look incredible tonight. Can I really honestly say that? Y'all look good. Everyone got a little love. Can we shout out, just cheer for each other right now? Y'all look incredible. Welcome to 412, where you never know what's going to happen. I don't know if what I did during those first 3 songs was disrespectful to the Lord or not, but I was having fun up here. And anybody want some tater tots? Anyway. I haven't eaten all day. Gosh, I'm starving. I don't know why I put that in my mouth. I can't talk now. Mommy told me not to talk about mouth open. Hey guys, welcome. Y'all submitted some videos where we're spooking each other. It was a bad decision. Look at me, water. Now I'm like, it's disgusting. Okay. Here, can I have your water? It's in the back. I've already drank out of it 3 times. You didn't know that. But we have a couple videos talking about how I spook easily and my wife and kids scared me. And we asked you guys to submit your favorite videos or you guys trying to spook each other. And we have some of those videos here tonight. And so why don't you roll that first video for us, the spook video. Go for it. We'll play that again. That was Kendall spooking Sunny, right? That was Kendall spooking Sunny. Punches again. She's just going outside to water the dogs, and she gets spooked. Dude, listen, you're like pushing out. Gosh. All right, this next video. Hold on, pause that. Pause that. Oh, gosh. Got you! Got it. That was supposed to be the 3rd video. Anyway, I love you guys. Okay, so you remember how my kids spooked me, right? This is me getting them back. Go ahead and roll that footage again. Go ahead. Bye. Dude, I got Kate good. I got her good. She's incredibly cute. I love that little kid. All right, and then finally, this is our last spook video that made the video. This is where, hold on. What are we? Okay, I love you guys. Listen, I know I'm Napoleon. You don't know how to. I don't have a beard or anything. This is where you spook your mama. Like when you spook your mama, you won't be in trouble. So I don't know why Caleb did this to his mama, but this is spook your mama right here. So go ahead and roll this one, guys. Abigail, if you can help me out, hoodie over there. There's no way you're going to be able to listen to me if I'm honestly dressed like Napoleon Dynamite all night, so that's not going to work. So I have a hoodie that I'm going to put on real quick. Because I want you guys to pay attention to what I have to say in the next few moments. So, Abby, come on up. This is Abby. She's one of our interns. Guys, give it up for Abby. I want you to introduce me as the speaker, so I can say, give it up for Jimmy. But give me like 3 seconds to hold it up. And then you guys can slow clap me. Ready?
This is da da da.
guys staring at me dressed as Napoleon Dynamite, so I figured I could switch out real quick. Tonight's gonna be a fun night because we did all of the fun stuff, all of the fun worship up front, and then I have one story that I want to tell you guys tonight, and then I'm gonna release you to your small groups where you guys can take pictures, you guys can have a little party within your small group, and kind of just enjoy each other and build some relationships. But this is church. This is where my love and my heart for you is that I want to point you to Jesus. Everything that we do, I want to be able to show you a little bit of who God is and what He's done for you. And so I know that you're dressed as a chicken. I know that you're dressed as a Teletubby. I know that you're kind of feeling weird, but we can still take 15 minutes and talk about God for a minute. Are y'all down for that? Y'all ready for that tonight? So let's pray. Let's pray and let's jump into this tonight. God, thank you for the joy that you give us. God, thank you for the freedom of just being with each other and the freedom of just being able to celebrate this family. And God, I know that the situation is a little bit different, a little bit odd, and not as smooth as it normally is. But God, you're here just like you always are and you always will be. So God, in this moment, would you still speak to our hearts? Would you still change our minds, God? Would you reveal yourself to us here tonight? If you love Jesus, say amen. Amen, amen. If you've been here during one of the weeks that we've been talking about fear, can you raise your hand? Let me see you. Incredible, incredible. So for me to be able to update you on what I'm talking about when I say fear, you guys are kind of already in the game. You understand these definitions, but so let me give them to you just in case there's someone here tonight that I want you to feel a part of the family. I want you to feel included about what I'm talking about when we talk about fear. It's October, it's Halloween, kind of all this sort of stuff. So it's kind of a relevant thing. So there's two types of fear in the scriptures. The first type of fear comes from 1 John 4:10. Throw that on the screen for me. And this is the fear of being totally absorbed in yourself. So this is thinking about what is going to happen to you. So this says, there is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. For fear has to do with punishment. So there's a clear definition. Fear has to do with what is going to happen to me. Fear has to do with it's total self-consciousness of understanding of I'm self-centered, self-absorbed. I'm being totally absorbed in myself in this moment. That's that type of fear. Now, in the moment when you're being spooked, that fear is sort of okay because it helps you, be self-preserved and not get hurt and that sort of stuff. But if you work that out into relationships, you work that out into motivations, it can become a very, very negative thing. So there's the first type of fear, which is the fear, the definition of that fear is being totally absorbed in yourself. And there's another definition or another type of fear in the Bible, and this is the fear that we're talking about tonight, and it's the fear of God. It's the fear of God. And so this comes from Proverbs 24:18. It's one of the many times in scriptures it says this. This is being totally overwhelmed in wonder at the greatness of God. Being totally overwhelmed that He is God and I am not. I always say this phrase, you are God, I am not. I recognize that I am powerless against Harvey. I am powerless against some of these things in my life, but God is more powerful than them all. And when you see who He is and what He's done, it will bless your life. Proverbs 28:14, blessed is the one who fears God always. And the charge for the last month has been, we need to fear God as much in the calm as we do in the storm. We need God as much in the calm as we do in the storm. And it's this idea of being overwhelmed at who God is, His character, how He's revealed Himself as all-powerful, all-present, He's ever-present, and how He's created His universe, and it goes on and on. But also, what He's done, His grace, His mercy, His love. And you get to this place of being like, wow, you are God and I am not. We've talked about John, the best friend of Jesus. We've talked about Isaiah, who saw a vision in 740 BC. And there's these moments where they were so overwhelmed with the presence of God and who God is that it changed everything about them. And so tonight I just want to share one story with you. I want to share another moment in history. This moment is recorded throughout history as a factual moment that actually happened. And it's recorded in 3 of the 4 Gospels that we have. And so you have the Gospel of Matthew, you have the Gospel of Mark, you have the Gospel of Luke. These are written letters, they're historical documents, they're historical accounts of the life of Jesus Christ. And this moment that we're going to talk about today is is this: there's a soldier who is watching Jesus get crucified. There's a soldier who is literally in charge of making sure that the execution of Jesus Christ was followed through, that he was nailed to a cross, and that he would eventually die. And he's called a centurion, he's a captain, and there's a bunch of other soldiers. And so we have three accounts of this, of three of the four Gospels. So we have three historical records of this moment from AD 30, right around AD 30, so we're talking just about 2,000 years ago. But even more than that, I want you to recognize that this is a real moment that really happened in history. Was that a burp? It honestly sounded like a burp. I'm impressed, I'm not even mad. Okay, but this is a real moment that really happened in history. There's a few other people who weren't even believers of Jesus, because Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they were followers of God. They were followers of Jesus. But there's this one guy, his name is Tacitus. He wrote the Annals of Imperial Rome. He's one of the most well-known and well-regarded history professors or history writers of history. He wrote this book called the Annals of Imperial Rome, and he references the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. So this is a historical event. There's this man named Josephus who was a Jewish historian, and he wrote a book about the history, and he mentions this moment when Jesus was publicly crucified. And so what I'm telling you today is that this is a moment that really happened in history. As real as this moment is right now, this really happened. And so Jesus is being crucified. He is being publicly crucified on a hill. There are people watching, and he is literally in the middle of dying. He's in the middle of dying publicly. There's a couple people at his feet. There's some family, there's some followers, there's some religious people who are the reason why Jesus is being crucified. And then you have the centurion and his soldiers who are in charge of the actual execution of Jesus Christ. And throughout all of these historical documents, we read all of these different things that happened that day. And it's mind-blowing to kind of see the things that were transpiring when Jesus was dying on the cross. First, we understand that darkness, it was noon to 3 o'clock. That's recorded. So Jesus, those final few hours on the cross, was noon to 3 o'clock. And it got dark in the middle of the day. Recorded in human history. It got dark in the middle of the day while Jesus was on the cross. It was a phenomenon that is unexplainable. And then at the moment Jesus died, the moment that it says he gave up his spirit, the moment that he died, an earthquake hit. Literally, the moment he dies, an earthquake hits and starts to shake the ground. The rocks began to split and began to shake the ground. All of this is recorded in human history. And you know how the centurion and the soldiers react? Let's read about it. We're going to read from the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew records it this way. Each of them recorded a different way. It's fascinating to see the few eyewitness accounts of this moment in history. And so, can we go to Matthew? It says, when the centurion and those who were with him, so his soldiers and the people that he's in charge of, when they were keeping watch over Jesus, they saw the earthquake and what took place. And they were filled with awe, and they said, truly this was the Son of God. And so they see the earthquake, they see the darkness, and they see Jesus on the cross, and they're mocking Jesus because Jesus claimed to be God. There's literally a sign above his head that claims to be God, claims to be King of the Jews. And in that moment, because of the darkness and because of the earthquake, Jesus dies, the earthquake happens, the darkness happens, and these non-believers, these people literally executing Jesus, they look up at Jesus and they say, truly, this was the Son of God. This man was God. How did they get to this conclusion? The fear of God. They got to the conclusion that Jesus really was who he claimed to be. Literally God in the flesh. Literally God dying for us on the cross. They came to this conclusion via the fear of God. Being overwhelmed at the greatness of God. And I don't want this to get lost in translation because these history books were all written in different languages. None of them were written in our English language. So let me read through some of the other translations. They were originally written in Greek, and now they're being translated to English, so it can get lost in translation a little bit. So let's read through a couple of different translations. Can we do that? Go ahead and throw those on the screen for me. This comes from what's called the Message translation. It says, the captain of the guard and those that were with him When they saw the earthquake and everything else that had happened, they were scared to death. So the first time it says filled with awe. Now it says they were scared to death. And they said, this has to be the Son of God, right? They said, this has to be him. He's claiming it, and this has to be him. Because of everything that's happening, they're saying it. Let's read it in another translation. This is the NIV. It's just another translation of Greek to English. When the centurion and those that were with him were guarding Jesus, they saw the earthquake and all that had happened. They were terrified. So now we have awe, then they were scared to death. Now we have terrified. And they exclaim, surely he was the Son of God. I think we have one more. We have one more translation I think I'll throw there. Yeah, I had to go with the King James version. Anybody have to read the King James growing up? And be like, I have no clue what's being said. Now when the centurion, and that is that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they feared greatly. Right? It's Old English. That was my attempt at Old English, right? They feared greatly. Which is like just another way of saying they were full of the fear of God. And what did they say? Truly this was the Son of God. Now here's the thing that I don't want to get lost in translation here, and I want to make sure that you understand from this story what the fear of God really is. Were they afraid of, you have to put yourself in their shoes. It's the middle of the day, noon to 3. It's happening around 3 o'clock. Darkness engulfs the land. Right? So this man's claiming to be God, and now you're looking for signs that he might be God, and darkness engulfs the land. Now you're already like, all right, what's going on? Like, this is like AD 30. They don't have flashlights. They can't pull up their cell phones and be like, looking around. You know what I mean? Like, darkness engulfed the land. They gotta light their torch or something. I don't know what they did, but it got dark. And then Jesus dies, and then the earthquake happens. So now you have darkness, now you have an earthquake. How many know that if you were in an earthquake, you'd be scared of what might happen to you? Am I gonna like fall in a crack? Is this building gonna fall on me? What's gonna happen? So you might read it one way and be like, okay, darkness and earthquake, yeah, they were scared, they had fear. Which would be the first definition of fear. Fear of what might happen to us. But that's not the fear that they were feeling in that moment. Let's reread it. I'm going to kind of reread all of this. So we're going to start a little bit earlier in Matthew 27. Go ahead and start me probably around verse 45. Yeah. So check out the timing of all this. When Jesus cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment, the curtain of the temple was torn into 2 from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split. And when the centurion and those that were with him were regarding Jesus, they saw the earthquake. Now here's the line that I want you to read here. Because at the moment of the earthquake, at the moment of the darkness, that's where the fear began to come in. And the fear was there for 2 reasons. Number 1, the timing. And number 2, all that had happened. So you think about it. This is good. The man claiming to be God on the cross. Darkness and earthquake. Now you're thinking this guy might be in control of the darkness and the earthquake. So the timing of it all, because it says at that moment, that's when the earth shook. That's when the darkness hit the land. So you have one thing that you're thinking, maybe something bigger than me is actually happening. Because all of this is oddly lining up. And then the second thing, which is that second to last line, right above the word surely, it says, and all that had happened. So there must be more going on here than just darkness and earthquake. For them to get to a place of saying, surely he was the Son of God, more had to be happening than just darkness and the earthquake. They were watching Jesus die publicly. And there are 3 things that Jesus said when he was on the cross that I believe that this is what it's referencing, because they saw all that had happened. They were there, right there, in the full story, in the full context of seeing this with their very own eyes. They saw the timing of the earthquake and the darkness, and they saw these other things that Jesus said. For instance, Jesus was on the cross. How many people were being crucified that day? How many people were being murdered that day? Anybody know? 3. Yeah, there were 3 people being murdered. 2 criminals who deserved it, and Jesus who was innocent. And one of the criminals looks over at Jesus, says, I believe that you are God. You don't deserve to be murdered right now. I do. I deserve to be executed for my sins and my crime. But you don't. Is there any room for me in your kingdom? Is there any room for me to be with you forever? You know what Jesus did in that moment? He said, surely today you will be with me in paradise. That guy didn't deserve anything, and God gave him grace. That guy didn't deserve any. Now, this is Spirit 12. I don't know what's happening to the screens right now. We need to pray right now and see what. Okay, thank you. Go back to right. Okay. But, right, so this guy didn't deserve anything, yet Jesus told him, I forgive you, I give you grace, and absolutely, if you believe that I'm God, I would love to be with you forever. I'd love to be in a relationship with you forever. The centurion and the guards, they saw that happen. They also saw Jesus on the cross talk about, my God, why have you forsaken me? They saw Jesus in that moment talking about the separation that he was feeling between God the Father and God the Son. They saw the anguish on his face for the first time in eternity because God, Jesus, was in the beginning before anything was created. It's clearly stated in the scriptures. So he is an eternal being. He's an eternal God who has always existed, no beginning and no end. And for the first time in his eternity, in his eternal existence, he is separated from his Father. And the beauty of our God is that it's three gods in one, living in perfect relationship with each other. That we call them one God, because if we could really get it, we couldn't really get it, but they are living in perfect relationship. And that's why God wants to have a deep, meaningful relationship with you, and why God wants you to have deep, meaningful relationships with each other, because our God exists in a relationship.